Hey, hi, Sports Office, Jen Hammond. Can you guys find a thing, put it up here so I can watch? I like to see the monitor. How is everyone this evening? Happy, very chilly Monday to you all. How many days till Christmas? 10 days till Christmas. Happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate. And of course, we are thinking with heavy hearts to all of the people affected by the violence in the world this weekend. We are going to get to it tonight. Speaking of cold, we're going to talk about ice hockey, Red Wings hockey, specifically the team here in Detroit that has been doing quite well. We are going to welcome in my friend, Helene St. James from the Detroit Free Press. Hello, my love. How are you?
Always great to be on with you, Hammer.
The beat writer for the Free Press. How long have you been doing this for the Wings, for the Freep?
30 years.
Hell, seriously?
Yeah. I came in at a perfect time, just as they were getting good, and there was so much talent on the team, and wow. It was fantastic. You remember those days.
Yeah. So 95 you started, huh?
Yeah.
Were you in New Jersey with us when we went there for that Stanley Cup final run against the Devils?
No. I started after that.
You started right after that. So for the 96 season, which of course everybody remembers is so iconic because of all of those games and those brawls with the Avalanche. Hey, let's do this quick little thing here while we've got you. I see the books on your shelf. You are a published author yourself. So let's give a little pub and a little promotion, because now's a great time for people to buy maybe some Red Wings books for Right. Do you have one of your books to show us, or somewhere to guide people if they want to do that for the holidays?
Right up here, the franchise.
You can turn around and grab it and hold it up. Turn around, grab it.
Curated History. That's my latest one that came out. Also have one specifically about the draft. And then the first one I wrote during the pandemic was the Big 50, just a chapter by chapter history of the team. So yeah, it's incredibly thrilling to see your name when you walk into a bookstore and see your product there. And they make absolutely great presents, and I'm happy to personalize them. People can reach out to me at james@freepress.com. So and at least if you're local, I think you can probably still get them in time for Christmas. So.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Because the Red Wings now are not that they fell from relevance. I don't want to say that, but they're cooking right now for this point in time. They had a great start, a little bit of a dip, and now they're back up. Just give me a sense of what you see from this team and have seen from this team since that trip out west, in which they went 4-1-1 and had not one, but two shutouts. And I don't say that lightly, because it had been a while since they had a goalie put up a shutout for this team.
It had, and I think that's really one of the key differences is just the play of John Gibson over his last handful of starts. He's been the John Gibson they hoped he would be when they traded for him. He had kind of a turbulent start to the season, some good games, some, games where he gave up 3 very quickly, and a bit of a concern, but you see it all around the league. You cannot win if you can't rely on your goaltending. And, Talbot has actually been very good for them pretty much all season, but the play of John Gibson of late is really what has helped them, have such a good trip, because the players in front of him, they've been pretty productive for most of the season.
Well, and I think, too, it seems to go hand in hand, as we've seen over the years covering various iterations of this Red Wings team. When you've got strong goaltending, your defense tends to stiffen, and vice versa. It almost feels like they're playing complementary hockey, if such a term does exist. I know we talk about it a lot in football, but in hockey, it's equally as important, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and players will never come out and say it, but if they're worried that their goaltender is going to give up, a shot that he should have made, they probably feel a little bit more like we got to be back there and, what's going to happen. So it gives confidence to the skaters, and they can spend more time in the offensive zone. So it absolutely, it is a team sport. And even though the goaltender is the one who always ultimately probably, looks the worst or gets called out the most when the goals start pouring in. But in some of those games, the skaters just let the opponents walk right in. It's John Gibson whose goals against balloons, but it's really the team, that let him down too at times.
Absolutely. What are some of the other things that we've seen? This Red Wings team has been scoring goals at a much more consistent clip. What, in your opinion, H, has led to that in this most recent stretch?
Yeah, it's really been important, because early on, it was really just a 2-line team, and just Andrew Kopp's really come on since he moved on to the second line and just getting more balanced scoring. And on the trip, Sandin Pellikka, an enormously talented 20-year-old defenseman, he had a great trip. I think he had 6 points or something, but really played well defensively too. And Todd pointed it out earlier today. When you play solid defense, your offense comes in a much more natural and better way than if you're pinching and taking risks. So I think it's just all the way around, that the team is just building confidence, and they have a little bit of swagger now.
It's interesting because I know that one of the things that people in this town have often talked about is, when's Steve going to make a move? We need to make a move. We need to get some guys. But he has said always his stance has been to be patient. Are we now starting to finally see what he's been talking about, kind of at a little bit of a slower speed, but it is now starting to come to light?
Yeah, I think so to an extent. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind they still need some more players. They need at least another scoring winger. They need another high-end defenseman. I mean, it would have been amazing if they could have gotten Quinn Hughes, but there was no way they were going to give up so much for a guy who wasn't willing to commit
4 first-round picks, right? Essentially.
Yeah. So that was understandable. And let's be honest, they should have had him in 2018, but let's not. We won't revisit that again. It's just. I think it's just players coming together, and they had an opportunity to bond a lot on that trip as well. So. It's just that there's some depth that's coming through, and that's exactly what Steve has been very, very patient about.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because you talk about that they bonded on that trip. Oftentimes we do hear players say that, right? They go on the road, it's just kind of them against the world. They spend a lot more time together. It creates a closeness, there's a camaraderie. And one thing I know that Todd talked about today at practice was carrying that over to this next stretch when they come back home tomorrow night against a really tough Islanders team. How do you think they can make that a focus without trying to, do too much, for lack of a better term?
Well, it's funny, Jennifer, because Todd also said, because he was asked about that, and he said, well, sometimes it's because we talk about it so much, they get the seed plants in their heads. They're like, oh, should we be terrible because it's our first game back? The Islanders, like the Buffalo Sabres, always play the Wings really, really tough, and they've already really given it to them twice this season. So, but I think it's just having a good start, and understanding that sometimes you just have to be patient for something to happen. That's that's the formula wherever you are. But have a good start. I mean, look at in Chicago. They were up 2-0.
Huge.
5 minutes in, and that's how you build momentum.
Yeah, and Alex DeBrincat. I mean, it seems like we've seen these little stretches from him in pockets. This is the player they wanted him, expected him, and need him to be. How does he continue the stretch that he's on right now?
Yeah, he's been phenomenal, and it's too bad Patrick Kane is going to be out at least a couple of games, because he and Alex have such chemistry. And Patrick, I mean, 498 goals. He's coming in on number 500 any day now. But DeBrincat, I mean, that's when they traded for him, he was a 40-goal scorer. You do need to be on a talented line, and again, have talented defensemen who can get you the puck. It all hangs together, but he's absolutely been now the player that they wanted him to be when they traded for him.
Yeah, and you mentioned Patrick Kane. Obviously, really cool to see him close in on 500. I think it's been a minute since we've had a moment and kind of a milestone like that here in Detroit, isn't it? I can't even really remember the last one that we saw. I mean, there's been so many Hall of Famers that have come through these doors, but it'll be really fun to watch him hit 500, won't it?
Oh, absolutely. And he's 8 points away from tying Mike Modano, who you'll remember finished his career with the Wings for most points from a U.S.-born player. So it's really a phenomenal career that Kane has had. And I think he really adds a lot to the locker room. It was just such a great low-risk addition. And I think it says a lot that he's wanted to keep staying around.
Yeah, and I think really underestimated. I do think that Steve Yzerman has a lot to do with Patty Kane being here and staying here in Detroit. Let me ask you just a couple more minutes here with you, if I can, about Leonard, who now comes from the Griffins in his place. And it's really fun. My daughter, I don't know if I've told you this yet, H, my daughter Sydney is living in Grand Rapids, and she works part-time in the marketing department for the Griffins. So she goes and she sees all these things. And she said the other night it was Dominic Shine bobblehead night. And she got a Dominic Shine bobblehead, and it was, I think, his 500th career game with the Griffins. And whereas Leonard is not at that same, at that same number, he's certainly a guy who's performed very well down in the AHL. What can we expect to see from him tomorrow night, kind of in spot duty with Kane out?
Yeah, it's. I mean, he's 27 years old, which is when a lot of players really come into their own, and you can tell he's very, very confident. And the Wings are so confident in him; they're sliding him right into Kane's spot. That doesn't usually happen when you get called up. Usually, you are on the fourth line or something and killing penalties. He's going to be playing with Andrew Kopp and Alex DeBrincat, and on the power play. So that tells you how much they think of him. And conversely, Jonathan Berggren ended up on waivers today because he's just never really been able to solidify or fight for, continue to have a foothold on the team. But it's a great story, Leonard. He's played, I think, 70 NHL games, hasn't been in the NHL for over a year. So this is a terrific, terrific opportunity for him. And, I think that's part of what makes hockey so fun is seeing these guys come up from the minors. And, you want to see your youth, your Nate Danielsons, Marco Kaspers come up and become impact players. But, the more depth veteran guys, it's a really fun story when they come up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think we'll see Gibson in net tomorrow night?
I believe so, yes. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Gibson tomorrow and then Cam Talbot when they play the second of a home back-to-back.
It makes so much sense. Well, and the schedule is just so wacky, right? I mean, they'll go 4 days without a game and then play 3 and 4 nights. And, of course, nobody makes the schedule. None of the guys choose it, but it's been kind of crazy. Give me one final thought, if you can, just kind of on the Todd McLellan impact. I know that one of the things he and his staff were talking about going into the season was having the whole season with the team, right? From the very beginning camp all the way through. What is it about his style, his approach, the way he leads these guys that you think can help lift them to be that playoff team, which ultimately is what everyone here in Detroit is waiting and hoping for?
Yeah, I think it's a great point to end on, Jennifer, because he came in he was hired December 26th, right? Steve took away the media's third day of Christmas break, but Todd has really come in and resurrected the team. He came in right away and reminded them about their love of hockey. This is love the game again. And, he's preached game management again and again. And I love watching him at practice because they'll be in the middle of the drill. He doesn't like it. He blows the whistle and just lets them have it, And I've talked to the players about it, but they're like, they don't, or they like it because they want to know how it is he wants them to play. And the proof is in the results, and that was the same thing, Scotty. I mean, you remember Scotty would drive players insane, but they loved what happened at the end of the season when they were winning the cup, and they loved how many W's they racked up under him. So that's, and he's talked about it himself. I mean, be tougher mentally, be tougher physically, don't let teams hang around, don't let opponents back in. And, they'll show some growth, and then suddenly it'll be like they flunked, Consistency is still something they need to work on, but overall, I mean, Todd's, in my opinion, without question, has been Steve's best hire.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. And I do think tomorrow night will be a great test and really a great place for them to kind of prove if they have taken that little bit of the step. Hey, and I don't know if you heard this, but the game, and you can write this in your story and your pregame notes in your column tomorrow, the game will be on Fox 2 as well as FanDuel. So anyone who has just regular TV and doesn't have the fancy FanDuel app can watch it on Fox 2.
I'll work that into every sentence I utter tomorrow.
Work that into every sentence you write tomorrow. So I'll see you at the game tomorrow. I'll be there for pregame. And I'll wear my down coat because it's colder than Alaska up in that press box, isn't it?
It is as cold in the press box as it is outside.
I know. I don't think people realize that. Like, we're sitting right below these giant industrial size, even John Burr's nodding his head, yes, industrial size blowers that come down on us. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. And tell us one more time where we can get your book.
Barnes and Noble, Amazon, anywhere, any bookstore, and for me personally, H. St. James at freepress.com if you would like it personalized.
Yeah, H. St. James at freepress.com. It's the franchise. It's great. It's perfect for the holidays because Red Wings fans, I think, are starting to kind of feel it again, right? We can be proud of this team. They're playing well, and as you mentioned, they're showing some toughness, which is really important to win.
No, absolutely. But, Jennifer, to be fair, even when you remember the pandemic put them out of their misery in 2019, 2020, when they had won 17 games and then the league didn't play for more than half a year.
Yeah.
But even during those awful times, I heard from so many Wings fans never lose their passion, no matter where the team is at.
Absolutely. You know what? You are very right on that. Thanks, H. I appreciate you joining me tonight, and I'll see you down at the rink, as we say, tomorrow evening.
Can't wait. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Thank you so much, Helene St. James from the Detroit Free Press. So kind to join us tonight, and her lighting looks great because women know how to light themselves on Zoom, and they don't put their cameras up their face. Men, I'm on a dating app too, and like all the men are like stoic, mean face, looking down at their phone. It's like, put it up, smile, keep it eye level. All right, that's your tip for tonight. All right, we're coming back. We've got some Zoom calls. We're gonna do this and take a little break. Stick with us. The Sports Office continues. All right, welcome back to the Sports Office. I am joined now by our exciting news producer and the man who runs the Pulse, also seen here on Fox Local, Aaron Jordan.
Coming up next, actually.
Coming up next, you guys will do that at 7:30, right?
Yeah.
And then it airs on air at 11:30.
Yep, and streaming all night, every day at fox2detroit.com as well.
All over the place. Let's talk a little bit, huh? You guys, your Spartans have a big game coming up this week. Toledo at home. And then they're going to play Oakland University, which is one of my absolute favorite games of the year. Are you going to be down at LCA on Saturday?
I won't be down for that, but I was watching on Saturday that was a scare against Penn State right there. That was a little tighter than I wanted it to be. But exciting news, too, for the Spartans, bringing back Max Bulla as co-defensive coordinator, too. love keeping Joe Rossi.
Yes.
And then bringing in Bola to kind of groom him as a defensive
coordinator.
coordinator.
And he's bringing in a great D-line coach as well with him.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's news that we needed, and really seeing them bolster that staff. And I'm really interested to see what they do with the offensive staff as well.
Yeah, it seems like everything we've seen so far from Pat Fitzgerald has been just high energy, all green, all white, everywhere he goes. You've got to feel really positive about the move, the direction, and the mood in East Lansing.
And just optimism, too. I talked about this a couple weeks ago after Jonathan Smith got fired and they hired Fitzgerald, is that optimism was there. I don't know that it's going to work with Fitz, but there was hope this time around.
Yeah, not that Spartans want to ever see horrible things happen in Ann Arbor.
Of course.
But the fact that program is in shambles is, I'm sure, something that will maybe equalize things a little bit here around
No comment on that one.
Give me your sense. What did you think from the Lions game yesterday, Aaron?
The second half, that third quarter was not great. I didn't like the fact that we only had 5 yards in the third quarter.
Yeah,
I know people are really going to look at that touchdown that shouldn't have been a touchdown. You look at the replay; he was clearly down.
One?
Yeah, knee down, and it was just. But that wasn't the reason they lost the game.
Correct.
And you just look at, they gave up another quick touchdown after that, and it was just kind of one of those moments where it was you're going, okay, it's just going to be one of these games. I mean, they battled back, but just ran out of time.
They did battle. And I'll tell you something. What we saw from this team against Dallas, what we saw from this team against Baltimore and the Bears the first time around, there are really some encouraging spots. I do think they will beat the Steelers. I do think they'll be able to go on the road, and they will be able to beat the Vikings on Christmas Day. And it's all going to come down to Chicago.
Yeah.
That final game of the season. And it's going to be thrilling, isn't it?
Oh, I'm really excited for it. I don't think it's going to be a bloodbath like it was in that first game versus the Bears. But
heck no.
I'm excited to see what they do.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. Hey, we've got some Zoom callers we're going to get to after this. We've got to take another quick break, but we're coming back on the Sports Office.
The trip.
We're going to go to Fabian. Fabian, wait, is it your birthday?
No, it was my daughter, my bonus daughter birthday. She flew in for us.
Oh, I love that.
Baby girl.
Happy birthday. What is her name and how old is she?
Nikaya, she turned 26.
Oh, that is such a great age.
But thank you.
That
She
is
flew in to see us for her birthday.
Oh,
and the
how wonderful.
grandbaby.
Oh, that's so
grandbaby
wonderful.
day too.
So you're
Great.
having a great celebration and a great Monday, even though the Lions lost on Sunday.
And we winning today.
Yeah, winning today, right? We're winning at life,
today,
winning
Jen.
at life. What was your biggest takeaway from the game over the weekend?
Just a big second half collapse. It just took me back to that San Francisco game.
Yeah.
You know, it took
No
me back
kidding.
there.
Yeah.
But
Although maybe
we can't
not quite as
have
egregious.
those.
Yeah, we can't have those. Do you have confidence that they're going to be able to get back, win
We
these
just
next
don't
three
have-
and get in?
We don't have no room for error. This is not new to us. So we know what we have to do. So it's not even talk about it, just get out there and execute. That's just all to it.
Yeah.
Go in the kitchen and get the sharpest knife and cut the BS.
Yeah, cut that. Absolutely. All right, we're gonna end on that note because that was well said. Fabian, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for having me. Missed you guys.
Yeah, miss you too. We'll see you later this week. Have a great time with your family. And we've got Nick. All right, Nick, come on in. Give me your sense. I know that you're taking that one kind of hard. Wait, let me ask you this. Are you so fired up for the Pistons, though? Let's go back to Friday night. That whooping that they put on the Hawks, that was impressive, wasn't it?
Glad we needed that, and I think we're just getting started. I think we're going to end off the season even better than we started off opening the season.
Yeah, I think it's so incredible. And it is so much fun to watch the evolution of the bench and the defense that this team is playing. It's clearly the J.B. Bickerstaff effect, isn't it, in your mind?
Yeah, I think so. I think he deserved Coach of the Year last year, and I'm already thinking that he could win Coach of the Year this year with how our team's playing.
I absolutely agree with you, right? Coach of the Year candidate. We're going to start that campaign. What do you think is going to happen down the stretch here? I know you're a huge Lions fan. Do you feel like that they have as much as they need to win 3 games and get into the playoffs?
Yeah, I do. I just feel like we need to lock in. We got to be able to score in the third quarter, unlike last game. We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But I think we can win all 3 games. It's going to be very tough because I feel like we do have a pretty tough schedule, but I think we could beat the Bears, and I think we just need the Bears to lose all their games. And I feel like if they lose all their games, we're going to get second place in the NFC North.
All right, I'm running out of time here, Nick. Thanks for calling. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for joining us on the Sports Office. We'll see you tomorrow.